talk about struck by and caught in between accidents that happen on construction sites, potentially a lot. One of the things first thing I want to go over, struck by and flying objects, potential hazards on a construction site that a lot of times can be easily prevented just by wearing safety goggles. For instance, you're out on a job one day and your boss tells you, hey, can you come over here and grind down this piece of metal for me, please, or cut a piece of metal using this grinder? And you're doing something, maybe sweeping up or something like that, or doing some other type of work that is not that hazardous, and you maybe don't have all the PPE on, the personal protective equipment that you need. And you're over there, and you go over and pick up the grinder. Well, the first thing you need to do is put on some goggles and earplugs, because grinders get noisy. If you're young, you probably don't realize that eventually your hearing may go. And if you want to hear when you're 70, 80 years old, it's probably a good idea to start now using earplugs. So I'll put some earplugs in. And I have my goggles on. Now this is more about flying. Now what do you think is going to fly? Sparks are going to fly. Oh, I need to reset my GFCI receptacle. Can adjust so the sparks don't fly up in your face. If you adjust it the wrong way, that's one way of getting hit with something. Another way, come over here. I want to drive this stake into the ground. A lot of times when you're doing concrete work, this is how you form up concrete, is by putting these metal stakes in first. And this is a potential hazard. Anytime you're pounding something in with a hammer or something like that, there's a potential for something to fly off the hammer, maybe, if it's your not well-maintained hammer, or something could fly up out of the ground as you're hitting it in. So be careful and put your goggles on. You may not need earplugs at this point, but I'm going to leave them in. And I'll start it with this. Okay. Now, struck by. Keep your head out of the way when you're hitting in the stake too. All right. Make sure you're out of the way when you're doing it. Stand clear. And if it starts getting difficult, you may have to use a bigger hammer. This is a 16-pound sledgehammer, so it's heavy. Right? Easily struck by. A lot of times what happens with guys who are using a sledgehammer, they'll miss, it slips down, and bam, busts them right in the legs. So what you want to do when you're using a sledgehammer is get yourself a lot of space. That is, if you do miss, it's just going to go in between your legs like that, and it's not going to hit you in the legs. Okay? Okay? So that's struck by. It could be flying. It could be a tool you're swinging. It could be a lot of different things. always pay attention to possible scenarios where if a tool does slip or you slip, it's not going to cause an accident. Next one we're going to talk about is something called caught in between. You ever hear get stuck between a rock and a hard place? Well, that's caught in between. Caught in between means you don't have a way out if something goes wrong. You always want to leave yourself a way out of a situation. Don't get yourself pinned up against something if there's a potential for something to come up from behind you or something like that that could hurt you. For example, let's take this dumpster. Out of the way. But if I'm working back here, forming up where this concrete is, okay, these stakes in, putting these form boards in, and if I'm in between here, this would happen to roll back up against me, there's a potential for me to get hurt, which I don't want. What I should have done at the beginning was there's no possibility it's going to do that. Remember, safety first, safety always. And when when you go out to the job site, you should be thinking about safety as soon as you get out there. And as you're working, always think of safe situations or things you need to do to make your work area safe. Thank you.